What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, and I'm back with another recent reads. Just got done with my reread of The Doomsday Clock by Geoff Johns. I read this in single issues back in the day. I think I even dropped a review on the channel, but the Absolute edition came out. I had to go through this, so we're gonna do a review with you all today. We're gonna look at the construction and build, go over this story. There's gonna be some spoilers, so just be careful with those overhead shots, and then I'll come back with my final thoughts. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, here we have the slipcase for the Absolute Doomsday Clock. We've got Superman literally flying through the clock here. So all yellow slipcase. Here is the spine for the slipcase. Nothing on the back. You can see the price here. It is $125 USD, 163 Canadian, but don't go paying retail for these books. I got this from organic priced books. They have everything heavily discounted when they're new releases, and if you use code GemMint, you can save $2. And we have the spine of the book, very Watchmen-like. Geoff Johns, Gary Frank, Brad Anderson. Let's go ahead and get the book out. And then here we go, the bloody Superman emblem, which I believe is the cover for issue 12. The spine we just saw, same image on the back, only reversed. And of course, we can already see it's got the ribbon. But let's go ahead and open this book up. We'll take a look at the build, see what it collects, go over the story. Here we are. So crediting Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, as this is a direct follow-up to The Watchmen. Here we have our credits, and then we just jump right into issue 1. So they give you the virgin covers here, do have the page count on the bottom, and like I said, a direct follow-up to Watchmen. They even use a lot of the same paneling, and it's the sequel, basically what happened after Rorschach's journal was found, and the world found out that this big alien attack was actually set up by Ozymandias. We get introduced to a new Rorschach here. Obviously, he's not the same Rorschach who was killed at the end of The Watchmen. And we get more origin on him later on. We get the marionette being visited by Rorschach here. So essentially what's happening is Dr. Manhattan has fled the world, and the world is in shambles after the destruction. Billions of people died from that alien invasion. And Ozymandias has found a way to track Dr. Manhattan's energy signal, which leads us to our universe where Superman and the Justice League and everybody resides. So they include all the bonus material from the back of each issue. So once an issue ends, it gives you just a lot of world building and making you feel like you're really a part of this universe. John, Dr. Manhattan, meets up with the actor. We'll see his name here shortly. The marionette and the mime play a pretty intricate role here. It's what Ozymandias thinks he can use to persuade Dr. Manhattan to go back and save their world. Now, what's really cool about them is that they have a unique set of skills, right? So the mime doesn't talk, obviously, and he has these invisible weapons. And then the marionette has this zip cord type of thing that she uses to slice off appendages. Here we have Dr. Manhattan. So the reason why Ozymandias thinks that the marionette and the mime can be used to persuade Dr. Manhattan is because he spared them one time because she was pregnant. Now we find out later it wasn't that simple. It was more so of who the child will become, which is the big kind of ending here. But either way, Ozymandias thinks that it's kind of like his human compassion and that he'll use that to go back and save their world. Meanwhile, we got some problems in our universe here. The Superman theory is something that's kind of going on throughout the media. Once the arrival of Superman happened, then the governments of the world created metahumans, and there's this big conspiracy surrounding that. So Rorschach, along with the marionette and the mime, travel with Ozymandias to our world, and that's when all the craziness ensues here. So Ozymandias meets up with Lex Luthor, Rorschach meets up with Batman. The comedian is also on our world. And then here we go with more of that bonus material. Moving on to the next issue. Of course, this is taken from the original Watchmen. So right when comedian goes splat, he somehow ends up in our universe. This was a great interaction with Rorschach and Batman on how Batman's like, yeah, I believe you. Just follow me onto this jail cell, and then essentially locks him in. So Carver Coleman is the actor. It's like a little sub story that deals with Dr. Manhattan. He visits him once a year. Kind of gave me Sandman vibes on like the 100-year meeting thing. It's somebody that kind of keeps John grounded. He meets up with him. He lets him know what he sees in the future. Here's Rorschach. Now he is in Arkham Asylum. And we learn that he kind of went crazy when the alien attack happened from the Watchmen, right? Now, it affected some people differently. Some people died immediately upon seeing this horrific event. He really lost his mind. And his father was the lawyer representing Rorschach. And when he found his father's notes, he took on the mantle of Rorschach kind of as an homage. But he kind of went insane when he saw that happen. Mothman here is what really opened his eyes to wanting to escape when he was locked up on his universe, and now he's locked up again here having flashbacks. So the bonus material on the back of this issue just touches on like that Superman theory, the metahuman menace, and the rise of the metahuman American. It becomes a big political backdrop to this story. Kind of what's setting off the doomsday clock on our planet, in our universe. So these different metahumans and what countries they represent, who created them, etc. The marionette and the mime's origin story was great, and I love how they ended up disrespecting the Joker and the Joker's gang in Gotham, and that's how they end up in this predicament here. But obviously the Joker's impressed. I mean, they're formidable foes for sure. So in this issue, we delve into kind of what Dr. Manhattan has been up to. He's been going throughout time and kind of altering things, moving the Green Lantern inches away from Alan Scott so that he doesn't become the Green Lantern and he actually dies. We learn that Bubastis is a new kitten that is really the tether to Dr. Manhattan and Ozymandias so that he can essentially use this cat to summon him by following his energy trail. Ozymandias being the smartest man in the world here, he really plays Reggie, the new Rorschach, into letting him help. He does like a sinister thing to get him to accompany him. He makes it seem like he got cancer from his interactions with Dr. Manhattan. Here goes the kitty right here, front and center on this cover. So here's like the political stuff that's coming to a head with all these different metahumans. It actually gets Firestorm into big trouble. They trigger this blast that turns everybody around him in Moscow into glass, assuming that he killed everybody, which gets Superman involved and kind of forces him to choose sides, which is not good. Black Adam is offering all of the metahumans sanctuary in his home country. So that's kind of like the political rift there. Even got Putin in the mix. And then here's Batman warning Clark to not pick a side, which he obviously has to. And then that gets Superman now in the heap of things, because although the Superman theory was this big political controversy, everybody still looked at Superman as like the ultimate good being. So that kind of tarnishes that here. Trust shattered, as you can see. Superman punching a tank, choosing a side. Now what's great here is that, you know, Dr. Manhattan, he likes to visit Mars. That's like his fortress of solitude. And the Justice League members all meet him there to confront him. And it essentially takes them off the board on Earth. And a nice, cool little interaction between Dr. Manhattan and the Justice League heroes on Mars. Guy Gardner tries to take a swing at him. But, I mean, they're no match for Dr. Manhattan. This issue goes into a flashback with the actor that I spoke of earlier, and then his meetings with John once a year. I don't know, just kind of a little side story that just plays a role in how we view Dr. Manhattan throughout this story. This is him meeting up with him throughout the year. So he plays with this. Jeff Johns plays with the whole date thing throughout here, just like back in The Watchmen. It's April 18th, 1943. It's April 18th, 1952. And Jeff Johns loves him some Golden Age heroes. He actually just released a new one-shot, and there's a new ongoing series which connects directly to this. So this is a sequel to Watchmen, but Jeff Johns has a Justice Society of America run, which is coming out in a direct sequel to this. The one-shot that came out this week at the time of recording directly ties into it. We got the ribbon here for the Absolute Edition built-in bookmark. So the other big thing here that has Dr. Manhattan conflicted is that he can't see past a certain point in the future. So either he dies or he kills everything. His last vision is interacting with Superman. So everything leads up to this confrontation with Dr. Manhattan and Superman. So here's where we have the interaction with Dr. Manhattan and the marionette and the mime, and how it's not so much that he spared her because she was pregnant, but more so who one of her children will become. And it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler here at the end if you guys want to hang on to that. This was a great interaction on how he leaves this picture essentially in every era that he visits, and Lex Luthor has been collecting all of them and trying to figure out the significance of this identical picture, but throughout time. And then we're on to the last issue here, kind of coming full circle with the picture, which you guys should remember from the Watchmen. Of course, you have to have your big epic crisis type battle. Once Reggie, the new Rorschach, finds out the truth about the relationship between his father and Rorschach, he renounces the mask, but Batman kind of needs him to wear it one more time type of thing. And then we have the vision of Superman from Dr. Manhattan, but Superman, obviously being the Boy Scout, doesn't actually destroy Dr. Manhattan. So the other big thread here is kind of Dr. Manhattan figuring out that this universe is a metaverse that branches off into different multiverse, and that time isn't necessarily linear in this universe. It all revolves around Superman, and it ties in the comic book universe with our real world and how his origin changes and gets pushed back. And every time there's a major change in the metaverse, aka in comic books, it affects the multiverse. So that's kind of like the big meta, quite literally, it's a meta type of thing on how changes that comic book creators make in the comics, how it affects the comic book universe as a whole, or the multiverse, if you will. So this is him explaining that, you know, these different eras, depending on when Clark Kent arrives to Earth as a baby. So a very meta ending here, which leads up into not Dr. Manhattan destroying Superman or destroying everything or vice versa. It leads to him passing on his abilities to the marionette and the mime's son, which Clark here, I'm sure, is going to play a major role moving forward in the Geoff Johns Golden Age Heroes arc. Everything kind of ties around full circle. I mean, Geoff Johns is one of the greats right now. Look, how cool is that? They even slide the picture that literally falls out of the page as you're turning it. It does have bonus material at the end, a cover gallery sketchbook showing the inspiration from the original Watchmen and how it was utilized here for Doomsday Clock. It was kind of controversial. I mean, I think the problem was that DC stated they would never mix the Watchmen universe in with the regular continuity. Personally, as a fan, I'm glad they did. I love sequels. Keep it going. Give me more of the stuff that I like, type of thing. Sorry about the pages are kind of glossy here. Try not to make it too hard to see for you guys, but huge oversized artwork in this Absolute. I talked a lot about the story, but the artwork's incredible. The paneling pays homage to the old school Watchmen, but just a great book, fun, interesting story with a lot of different threads that, like I said, all come full circle at the end here. I like this variant with all the hero logos on the Rorschach mask. Here goes some sketches of the covers. So some of the splash pages. The back of each issue with the blood continuing to drip down. Very cool. Love the marionette and the mime. Great little duo, kind of giving you Joker, Harley Quinn vibes, but the mime is not really insane. He's just madly in love with the marionette, which is cool. Here's some scripting and such, going into the metahuman, Superman theory stuff. A lot of bonuses in this Absolute, even, like I said, after each issue, where it just gives you more of that world and helps you become immersed in it. Paneling sketches. Great bonus material here. And then, of course, a biography on the creative team. This video is brought to you by Ninja Funk. Issue 1 comes out on November 2nd. They hit over 105,000 pre-orders. Be on the lookout for issue 2 that drops on December 14th with this beautiful David Nakayama cover. Shout out to Ninja Funk and Whatnot Publishing. All right, guys, there we go. So kind of gave my final thoughts a little bit towards the end of the overhead shots here. I love this run. I know a lot of people didn't like revisiting the Watchmen universe and tying it into DC continuity, but I'm a big fan and sucker of that. I'm the type of guy that if one's good, then two's better. Give me more sequels, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Geoff Johns does, continuing with this kind of shared universe that he's built with Doomsday Clock. Amazing artwork. This is obviously the most premium format that you can get any story in. I mean, the oversized artwork, the ribbon, the construction, the build of it is just incredible. So A huge fan of the Absolute editions, and I'm probably gonna start picking up some more, man. There's a lot of good ones coming out. Anyway, let me know what you thought about Doomsday Clock in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about the Absolute edition. And again, check out organicpricebooks.com if you're looking to pick up any collected editions. Use code GemMint. It'll save you $2. It's not much, but it all adds up. Thanks for watching, y'all. Stay minty fresh. Peace.